We've got some crazy Marvel news and leaks today about the Young Avengers, Marvel recasting Black Panther in Avengers Doomsday. We also have updates about Shang-Chi in this movie, what Captain America and Peggy Carter are going to be doing, and so much more. Let's talk about it all. Now, let's start with one that people are not so happy about because Daniel RPK is reporting that Haley Atwell, who plays Peggy Carter, is apparently going to be playing multiple different characters in Avengers Doomsday. And not only that, she is also going to have a pretty major role in this film. Now, I know what you're thinking. She hasn't even been officially announced to be in this movie. But in addition to pretty much every insider confirming she is going to be in the film, you also have to remember the Hollywood Reporter, which is a very reputable source, reported a year ago that Chris Evans was going to be returning in Avengers Doomsday, and they also name dropped Haley Atwell. And now obviously we know that Chris Evans' part was true, so it definitely seems like she will be in this film. Now I know it's very easy to make fun of this character and how hard Marvel is trying to push Captain Carter on the general audience and things like What If, and nobody seems to care about her. But if you really think about it, knowing that Steve is back in this movie, and we've already seen him with a baby in the house that he was in with Peggy Carter in this film, it makes a lot of sense. But the new question is now, what are the multiple characters she's going to be playing? Because it seems like it's going to be more than probably this version of Peggy Carter, that's just the regular Peggy we've seen in the main MCU timeline that Captain America went back in time for. Then we're probably going to be seeing her as Captain Britain, as we saw in the Illuminati and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And the third option I think might be the most interesting. Because one of the biggest theories about Captain America being in this movie has been that he was going to be playing Captain Hydra in this film, and that we were going to see kind of an evil version of the Avengers working with Doctor Doom. So maybe we are going to end up seeing something like that, and it's going to be maybe Captain America and Peggy Carter as evil versions, or maybe we're just going to see a straight up evil version of Peggy Carter as like a Captain Hydra, which I definitely think would be less interesting than seeing an evil version of Steve Rogers. But if you do have a regular Captain America and he has to fight against an evil version of Peggy, that could be something interesting. But again, I don't know why Marvel is trying to force this character so hard on the general audience. Like, fan favorites become fan favorites because they're in projects and people naturally gravitate towards them. I feel like just giving random people this much screen time in random projects is not going to make anybody like this character more. It's just going to continue to having the opposite effect, honestly. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below and what the multiple characters are that she's going to be playing. Now, moving on, we also have some updates from him about the next Young Avengers projects, which are now going to be the Champions and Strange Academy TV shows, but apparently they are still in development at Marvel Studios, and they're going to take place after Avengers Secret Wars, and they are both planned to be running for multiple seasons. Now, we know Marvel is trying to get back to more traditional television where you're running shows for like 10 to 12 episodes, multiple seasons, instead of like a 6-episode miniseries, which is good news. And like I said, Champions is what they're pretty much turning the Young Avengers into. Instead of just naming it Young Avengers, they're going with this Champions name, which I am excited that we're finally going to get to see this. But the thing is, after Avengers Secret Wars means probably 2028 at the earliest. Haley Steinfeld, who plays Kate Bishop, is going to be like 31 or 32 years old by then. A lot of the other actors are going to be like 28. Now, yes, they are still much younger than your mainline MCU Avengers, people like Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, RDJ, obviously, and like the X-Men that are still coming back and playing them at 90 years old. But it is just funny that this project has taken so long to get going. They've been building the foundation for years for these characters, and we're probably not going to see them until they're not really the Young Avengers anymore. But honestly, I do think it is a smart play to finally give us this as a TV show, like having a Strange Academy show focusing on a lot of the younger characters with magical powers. Maybe Doctor Strange shows up in some episodes, obviously, since it's named after him. Having Champions run for multiple seasons with like Kate Bishop as your lead and all these other young Avengers, giving the MCU something really interesting happening on the TV side where you can have kind of your own events and stuff happening, but keeping it separate from the main Avengers and X-Men going on in the movie side of the MCU, I honestly think could be really smart for Marvel going forward. Now let's move on to some official news from Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki, and what he said in a new interview. Now this first quote is kind of a nothing burger, but we'll get to the Spider-Man one in a second. That is very interesting. This one is very general. He just says it was amazing to be in that ensemble cast working on Avengers Doomsday. Sometimes on that studio lot you would cross paths with people and think, wow, this is a pinch me moment. It's a really big cast. So like I said, for most of this interview, he was doing really good at dodging any spoiler questions. But at one point he was asked who his favorite Spider-Man is, and he just said Tom Holland, which on its own is not that interesting of an answer. But then he said, for reasons I can't disclose, which could be one of two things. One, I'm looking way too deep into it and there's just some like behind the scenes joke between these two going on or something. The second meaning that there could be a huge scene between Loki and Spider-Man in these next two Avengers films. A lot of people have been theorizing that outside of Robert Downey Jr. playing Dr. Doom, obviously, they think Tom Hiddleston might be one of the only actors on the set that has read the entire script and knows the full story of what's happening in Doomsday. Like I said, I could be looking way too deep into this, but I feel like there could be a scene between these two characters, which honestly would be really cool. Like, these are two characters that you've never seen interact in the MCU before, and where else are you going to see this besides Avengers Doomsday? Now, one quote for sure I know other people are looking way too deep into and taking completely out of context is this one from Shang-Chi's actor Simu Liu. He was literally on this comedy show being interviewed by Kevin Hart, and he was asked how Avengers Doomsday ends, and Simu Liu says, "My life is in danger for sure." Now, people are taking this and running with it like Shang-Chi is going to die at the end of the movie, when that is not the context of the clip at all. Like, first of all, Simu Liu literally a couple days ago had a new interview with People magazine where he confirms that he's getting a Shang-Chi 2. That movie is officially happening. The sequel will be coming in the next couple of years, and that he is returning in Avengers Secret Wars. In the context of this interview, Kevin Hart literally asked him how Avengers Doomsday ends, and he just says, "My life is in danger for sure," as a joke, like, oh yeah, Kevin Feige and his snipers are going to take me out if I speak about the ending of Doomsday. Again, it's just a friendly reminder, when you see quotes out of context on social media, always try to look for the source, if there's a video or full article, because people will try to sway things in whatever way to get a headline. Now let's switch over to this Black Panther news, because just today we've had two new insiders, and I'm not gonna lie, are not the most reputable people in the industry, but they are still insiders that have gotten stuff right in the past, have come out and backed up the claim that they think Damson Idris will be playing Black Panther in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars, and presumably in the third Black Panther movie that we know Ryan Coogler is currently writing and slowly working on. Now, not only has he been one of the most popular fan casts for this character for a few years now, if you remember, almost a full year ago, one of the earliest Avengers Doomsday leaks we had was this concept art where we saw things like Planet Hulk and different things, and we see Black Panther in this concept art, and the drawing looked very similar to Damson Idris. So a lot of people have been assuming this is going to happen, and it seems more and more likely every day. Like I said, more new insiders come out backing up this claim, which honestly I am not mad at whatsoever. I think this guy is a great actor, and I think he would have the star power to play Black Panther. My only problem is I feel like Marvel made a mistake waiting this long and making a sequel where you already made Shuri the new Black Panther, and now having him come in and be like the new official Black Panther, playing like T'Challa or who knows, some other character. It's probably going to be T'Challa from a different universe. I feel like it's going to be a little messy and not a smooth transition into Black Panther 3 if you just like keep this guy from a different universe in the main MCU timeline after Secret Wars and like kill off Shuri or something. Like, yes, I do think this guy would be much better than our current Black Panther that is Shuri in the MCU, but still it would feel a little messy. But we do know Kevin Feige has talked about the fact that after Secret Wars is going to kind of clean up the MCU and make up for some mistakes that they've made in the past. So maybe this is one of the things he's talking about. Like, oh, yep, we made a mistake not recasting Black Panther at the start. Now we're going to do that and fix it with Secret Wars. I do think Damson, like I said, would be a great choice for this character. But if you're going to do this, you have to go all the way and have him being the official Black Panther moving forward. Don't do something like Multiverse of Madness where you have John Krasinski playing Mr. Fantastic just to be like, oh, hey, look, popular fan cast. We threw him in this movie as a cameo from an alternate universe for 5 seconds, and then you just kind of completely ignore that going forward, which, don't get me wrong, I'm happy we actually have Pedro as Reed instead, but still, it's like, don't just do that. Now, we also just got the new official X-Men teaser trailer for Avengers Doomsday and details about the Fantastic Four and Wakandans trailer. If you missed that, click the video above my head right now, and thank you so much for watching.